Hello, this is Shalimar Steinberg, and I am going to be talking about the next set of draw commands, which include rectangles and polygons. Rectangles are located up here in the drawing section, and if you see that there is a drop down, you'll see that polygons are underneath. We can click on the rectangle, and it's going to give us some options. So we can specify where the first corner point is going to go, or we can tell it a specific width that we want it to have, or things like that. I'm just going to tell it where I want my first corner to be. And then it's going to ask me to either give it the other corner point, which I could do by dragging it out or typing coordinates, or it's going to give me other options. So if I were first to just do that, that would end the rectangle command. I can do rectangle again, start it here, and then I could say A for area or click on area, and it's going to say what what length, size of square area do you want. So I could, for example, say 200. And then it's going to say, okay, do you want that based on the length or the width? And so I can tell it, okay, I want it based on the length. And then it says, what length do you want that to be? So I could say 20. And it draws the only rectangle that can be 20 in length and then still have 200 for the area inside of it. I could do the same thing, and then this time I could choose dimensions, or D. So I could click on dimensions, and it's going to say, okay, what do you want the length to be? So I could do that same length. And then it's going to say, what do you want the width to be? And maybe I'll say 25. And it draws that object, but it does still keep it joined to the cursor and gives me the option to decide what direction I want it to go in based off of the first point that I chose. Alright, so that's mostly it for the rectangle command. It is very useful for doing boxes. One thing to note about rectangle is that when you use this command, it creates a polyline. So it is one object, even though it's 4 segments. And you can draw squares this way as well. The next option that we have is the polygon. And a polygon allows us to draw an object with 4 or more sides. And so we can tell it first how many sides we want our object to have. So for example, I might say 8. And then I can tell it where I want the center of the polygon to be. So wherever I choose. And now it's going to ask me if I want it to be inscribed inside a circle or circumscribed around a circle. So in order to show you what the difference for that is, I'm first going to draw a circle here. Oh, I'm on a tangent circle, sorry. We're going to draw one right there. And then we're going to go to our polygon command. And it's going to say number of sides. I'm going to accept the 8 that it has for the default right now. And then I'm going to specify the center of the polygon that I want. And if I say inscribed in the circle, it's going to draw a polygon inside the circle where the points of each vertex meet the edges of the circle. So I'll say inscribed in the circle, and it will say to tell it the radius of the circle. And so I can just pick the edge of this circle in order to tell it. And you see that it is inside the circle, and each point is touching the outside edge of the circle once. Now if I do another polygon, and I enter the number of sides, and I choose the center at the same spot, and I say circumscribed about the circle, it's going to create the polygon so that it is outside of the circle, and the center of each side touches the circle in one spot. And so you see that that polygon is actually going to be a little bit bigger, even though they are measured off of the same center point and around the same circle. So this is very useful in situations where, for example, you have a bolt that needs to be able to fit inside of a certain sized hole, so you'll want to circumscribe it inside this, or inscribe it inside the circle. Or if you are making the hole that has to be able to fit to allow a bolt or something of a certain size to fit inside of it, then you'll want to do it around the outside of that same circle. Alright, that's the end of this video.